Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm going to do some more work on the car today, on the MR2. You're going to come along with me. I've already taken a lot of it off. The reason for that is just to get things done, because it takes longer to film everything than it does to actually do it and just get on with it. You're going to see me put it all back on though, so you'll see how it goes. Removal is literally the reverse of refitting, or vice versa, so you're going to see all the back together, so you'll be able to work out how to take it apart. So here is where we're up to at the moment. I must apologise for audio as well. I'm not putting my microphone on today just because it's going to get in the way, so you're going to have to deal with the noise, I'm afraid. But wheels off, bumpers off, rear tail lights are off. I've unclipped the O2 sensors. I have WD-40'd all the nuts that I think I'm going to have to take off. So we're on our way to being ready to start stripping out everything. So I'm going to be looking at the subframe, which you can see down there. This is the subframe. That's going to be coming off because there's a rust hole underneath it. All the arms that attach to that, so this arm here, the trailing arm, and the forelink are all going to come off because I've got new ones that I've refurbed. To do that, some say you can do it without taking the exhaust off. I'm not going to risk it. I'm just going to take the exhaust off the car because in here, behind these heat shields, are two precats. Those precats are problematic on these cars. They're known for breaking down, and they're known for causing trouble and destroying the engine. So I'm going to de-precat. I'm going to leave the main cat, but the precats are coming off. They only actually affect emissions when you're running warm. It's not that big a deal. It really isn't a big deal to have them off. Loads of people pass their MOTs. There's no problem with that. At the same time as doing all this, you can probably see a lot of this oil here. So not the oil on these, but the oil on the head, on the rocker cover. This is oil leaking out from a knackered, what do they call them? Bloody Nora. A knackered seal. So I am going to be changing that. I've got a new one for that. Also the chain tensioner, which I'll show you later when I'm under the car. The chain tensioner needs a new O-ring because the oil is coming out of that as well. So today's mostly going to be stripped down. I've got to take these two cross braces off. They're coming off next. And then the heat shield's going to come off. They've been soaking. It's been soaking in WD-40. Then the exhaust. Then I'll have a think about where I go next. Whether I'm going to take the rocker cover off today or leave that until the day I actually put the new one on, because I don't want anything getting in the engine and messing it up. But as you can see, some hack has decided to put wood screws, I think they are, in here instead of the bolts and nuts, sorry, the studs and nuts that are supposed to be in. So they're going to come out. I'm probably going to take this cover off today and then see where we are from there. So come along for the ride, guys. The whole top of that bolt has rusted off. So these now are so shallow, I don't think they're going to come out with a socket. I've just noticed that rocker cover bolt's loose as well. So no wonder it's leaking oil. Nothing's been torqued down. The last owner of this car is an absolute muppet. And of course I don't have the right blooming screwdriver head out here. So let's take the back two off because I've got the tool for that. would you believe what people are using instead of the proper studs? Just absolute idiots. So I'm just going to go around, because that end bolt was literally finger loose. It wasn't even finger tight. So I'm just going to go and tighten that just for now, because like I say, I don't want anything getting in the engine that hasn't already got in. It looks like we're going to have to take the coil packs out. We're going to have to don't have to take the fuel rail off by the looks of it. So we're going to have to take the coil packs out, move the cables across, and see where we go from there. I'm going to try and keep these coil packs in the right order. It shouldn't matter, but they work this way, so I'm going to keep them this way. Basically, try and keep them as they are. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say. Once this last bolt is out, I say bolt, but answers in the comments. Is that a bolt or is it a machine screw? That's an interesting one, isn't it? What's the difference? If anybody knows, let me know. We've definitely got oil leakage. These seem in good condition though, apart from the oil that's leaking all around them. Springs are in there. So at least he doesn't seem to have messed about with those. The oil leak will be coming from the gasket, the seal. Third isn't leaking. Fourth is a little bit. So yeah, definitely got a leak down towards the spark plugs. If I look in, there's no oil pulled at the bottom, so I'm not going to worry too much about that for now. I think what we may do today is we may do this easy job today of swapping this gasket out, and then I'm going to have a look at maybe welding on nuts onto these crazy rusty pieces of poop, and once the nuts are welded onto those, I'll be able to get an impact wrench on it and get them off. That's going to be a bigger job than I initially thought it was going to be. You can see all this insulation though around these cables is dead. The car is 20 years old, but still I think we're going to have to rewrap those and sort them out. This breather pipe needs to come off. Let me get some pliers. Breather pipe number 1. Don't worry about that in a second. Breather pipe number 2. I'm just going to need a bit of manhandling to get them off, because they've been on for, I say, 20 years. So that is that breather pipe off. Sorry guys, just bumped you there. That's the other breather pipe off. Let's readjust you. How's that? That should be, I think, everything now off that needs to be off. To take off the head. To take off the rocker cover, sorry. This clip needs to come off so I can get rid of this cable. How does that connect to there? We'll work that out in a minute. Ah, it's a whole bracket, okay. So we're going to take that whole bracket off there. remember, I do not class myself as a mechanic. I don't think I can work on cars or engines. Until recently I thought I was useless and there was no way I could do any of this stuff. I've got cheap tools. I haven't got anything expensive. I don't buy, you know, top of the range snap-on tools or anything. I don't even have Halford's Pro gear for most of my stuff. I do have some little Halford Pro gear stuff, but nothing crazy. The odd bit, you know, a few sockets here and there. Most of my stuff is either hand-me-downs from my brother, or old tools that I've had for years, or just cheap stuff I get from Halfords, B&Q, them types of places. Anywhere you can buy, so any DIY store. Okay, we should now be able to lever this up. Now, I also think that was way too easy to lift. I think that should have been a lot harder to do. But there we go. That's inside the rocker cover. Pretty gunky and dirty. And here we go. That is the offending gasket that we're going to swap out. Now, this has had a recent oil change, this car. So to have all this filth and muck and dirt and carbon build up here is, you know, it's a bit sad. It's unfortunate. I'd rather it didn't have it, but it's not the end of the world. This is a 100 and something thousand mile, I can't remember how many miles it's done. It's over 100,000 anyway. I would think we're going to need a new timing chain tensioner, because that looks quite loose. So I'm going to get a new tensioner as well as the O-ring that I've already got, and get that put in there, because that does seem a bit loose. All these seem to have very minimal wear, which I'm quite happy about, because that means we don't need to put new cams in. It's been running okay, actually, to be fair. Apart from the oil leak, it's been pretty good. There is another thing on this, is you should be putting some silicone somewhere when you put this gasket on. I can't remember where it is. I think it's at this end. You put some silicone on. I'll have a quick look at that before I actually do it, obviously. But we're going to clean this up. I'm not going to let you bother watching this. I'm just going to clean it all up. I'm going to get it prepped and ready, and then we're going to get the new gasket and put it all back together.